XRP's week from hell just got a $500 million plot twist. Seriously, while everyone was panicking, I stumbled on a secret Wall Street deal that could change everything for XRP. Let me set the scene, right? It's in the middle of Swell 2025, Ripple's big annual conference, and the crypto market is looking pretty grim. Bitcoin had just dipped below six figures for the first time in months, and XRP was down about 14% on the week. Now, I do remember checking my phone, thinking, not again, is this 2018 all over? And as an XRP holder, it's a bit of a gut punch feeling, right? The kind where you wonder if all the haters might finally be right. But just as I'm bracing for bad news, Ripple's CEO, Brad Garlinghouse, drops a bombshell on stage. Ripple secured a fresh $500 million in strategic funding, rocketing its valuation to an eye-popping $40 billion. So, $500 million. Now, my first reaction was, wait, did I hear that right? Who on earth is investing that kind of money when crypto is on a downswing? Well, it turns out that the answer is who's who of heavy hitters, because the funding round was actually led by affiliates of Pantera Capital, Fortress Investment Group, and even Citadel Securities, yes, the Wall Street giant, among some other pretty big names. Essentially, some of the savviest people in finance quietly bet another $500 million on Ripple and XRP's ecosystem, while the rest of us were staring at price charts in despair. Now, if XRP is such a nothing burger, then why are these big institutions lining up to write enormous checks? Right, one commentator, at the event put it perfectly. If XRP is a nothing burger, then why is BlackRock at Swell? Exactly, right? What do they know that the public doesn't? I had to find out, what was really going on, because on the surface, it makes no sense, unless there's a bigger play here, of course. So I dug deeper into the story, and by dug, I mean I grabbed another energy drink and started researching like a madman. Anyway, let me kind of tell you, by the end of this video, you're going to see why this $500 million deal could be a turning point for XRP. Trust me here, stick around. This one's personal, and it might just restore some faith where things are actually heading. First off, this huge cash infusion wasn't a random fluke. Ripple didn't just pass the hat around Silicon Valley and get lucky, right? This raise was strategic, right? They specifically brought in investors whose expertise matches Ripple's expanding vision. Remember, right? Ripple started back in 2012 with one main goal: to use XRP to make cross-border payments blazing fast. It was a pretty narrow mission, albeit a big one, basically replacing Swift. But flash forward to 2025, and Ripple has morphed into something much bigger. In fact, Ripple calls 2025 a record year for growth, and they've got receipts to back that up. In the last 2 years or so, they went on an acquisition spree, snapping up 6 different companies to broaden what they can actually do. Now, we're talking about everything from stablecoins to custody solutions. They launched their own USD-backed stablecoin called RLUSD, which has already passed $1 billion in market cap. They acquired firms like Metaco and Palisade, to get into crypto custody for institutions. Now think banks needing a secure way to hold on to crypto. Now Ripple can say, we've got you. Now they even bought a stake in Hidden Road, plugging into, prime brokerage and liquidity services. They even integrated with a company called treasury to offer crypto solutions for corporate treasury departments. And as if that's not enough, they grabbed an outfit named Rail to beef up enterprise stablecoin infrastructure. If all of those buzzwords made your eyes glaze over, here is the bottom line. Ripple didn't just want to be a payments company anymore. They want, or at least it wants to be the Amazon Web Services of crypto finance. They're a one-stop shop for any big player that actually wants to use digital assets. We're talking full-stack digital asset infrastructure. Provider is a pretty fancy term, right? And guess what? Having heavyweights like Fortress and Citadel on board, it isn't just about the money, though $500 million sure doesn't hurt, does it? It's actually about aligning with traditional finance experts who can actually open the doors for Ripple into new markets. Now, timing, it is everything. That's $500 million deal. It went down right as the United States decided to finally get its act together on crypto regulation. So picture this. A year ago, we were all worried that the US was going to choke out crypto with lawsuits and unclear rules. I mean, who can forget the SEC saga? But then, in a plot twist that very few people saw coming, President Donald Trump gets elected again and signs something called the Genius Act into law, basically America's first clear framework for stablecoins. Now I know, Genius Act. It sounds like I'm being sarcastic, but that is actually the name. And to be fair here, it might actually be kind of genius because it did trigger a new wave of adoption. Suddenly, the stablecoins, they aren't a dirty word to regulators anymore. They're actually the new hot tool for fintechs and big corporations. Now, since that act kicked on in, banks and businesses have been ramping up the use of regulated stablecoins for things like real-time settlement, treasury payments, collateral optimization, you name it. We're talking serious use cases that were stuck in limbo before. And Ripple, ever the opportunist, is poised to ride that wave. They now have a stablecoin RLUSD ready for action. They have a whole suite of institutional products, and with this new funding, they explicitly said that they want to deepen the institutional use of XRP in capital markets. So, what does that mean in plain English? Well, let's think about big players like hedge funds, banks, maybe even governments using XRP to settle trades or tokenize assets, real-world asset tokens and settlement networks, right? All that good stuff that happens behind the scenes of finance. Ripple is pushing XRP to be right in the middle of that. Now, this is where it gets me truly excited, right? It's actual adoption talk, not just when moon hype, right? Because for the longest time, the XRP community has been holding on to this idea that one day banks will use XRP like the internet uses TCP/IP. And here we are, possibly on the cusp of just that, with Ripple basically saying, yeah, that is the plan. And they're armed with a war chest and partners to get it done. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not putting on moon goggles just yet, right? Price is still down in the dumps today. Like I said, XRP's had a pretty rough week so far, right? Dropping 14% while the wider market also slid. Now, Bitcoin itself briefly fell to around $98,000, first time under 100K since June, which, by the way, is a weird sentence to say out loud. 100K Bitcoin used to be the wildest dream. Yet now we're just upset that it falls to that level, right? Now, crypto, who could have predicted? But I guess I digress here, right? The point is that short-term vibes were pretty bad. Sentiment was in the gutter, and then right then, behind closed doors, Ripple was finalizing this mega deal. It's almost poetic. Like the classic Buffett line, right? Be fearful when others are greedy, and be greedy when others are fearful. These institutional players, they saw an opportunity to invest big when the market was fearful. And that gives me some comfort. It's validation that this whole XRP thing isn't just in my head. Its real powerhouses are seeing value here too. Now, at this stage, I'm practically buzzing with a mix of relief and excitement, but I'm also naturally a cautious guy. Years in crypto will do that to you. So I at least remind myself, and I'd like to remind all of you guys that things like this $500 million deal, they're pretty bullish signs, sure, but nothing is ever guaranteed. Markets can stay irrational longer than you might think, and even good news can take some time to reflect in the price. Now, we don't know if XRP will shoot up next week, next year, or whatever, right? What we do know is that Ripple now has deeper connections and more capital to push XRP's utility to the next level. And you know what? That is pretty huge. Now this might just shock you, but I'm not a financial advisor and nothing in this video is financial advice. Cryptocurrencies are highly volatile and you could lose all of the money that you invest. You should always do your own research and consult a qualified professional. After all, your investments are entirely your responsibility and you should know that nothing is ever guaranteed when it comes to investing. Neither I, this channel, nor YouTube are liable for any losses, and this video is for entertainment and educational purposes only. All right, so now that we've got that important disclaimer out of the way, you know that I had to do it, let's talk about something else that's been on my radar. Now, a lot more personal and hands-on kind of crypto experiment that I am personally doing. Because while Ripple is busy making deals on Wall Street, I've been exploring ways that us regular normal people can actually get in on some crypto action in our everyday lives. And one project that's had me very curious recently is called Unity Nodes. Now, if you've been watching the channel for a while, then you've probably heard me mention Unity Nodes before, or at least a fair few times. And for those who haven't, just imagine turning on a phone, your mobile phone or your iPhone or whatever, or even a bunch of maybe old smartphones that you just have lying around, right? And soon turn them into a part of a global telecoms network that earns you some crypto. It sounds a little like sci-fi, I know, right? But that's basically what Unity actually does. It takes and transforms regular smartphones into decentralized validators, if you will, for a telecoms network. Now, in practice, that means that your phone will do little tasks like test calls or route pings to basically help verify and improve mobile networks, and you get paid in crypto for it. It's kind of like your phone is mining or staking, but instead of solving a math problem, it's actually helping a live telecoms company or grid, basically, and it's rewarding you for it. And here's the cool part, right? You can actually choose which crypto you want to earn as a reward. Now, Unity lets you cash out in Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, XRP, and so much more. Now, I was intrigued enough to actually at least buy this concept that I did decide to go in pretty deep. I purchased a Unity Masternode NFT, which gave me 200 licenses, meaning that I could technically connect up to 200 devices, phones, to the Unity network under my single node. Now, I'm not about to go ahead and set up 200 phones in my house overnight. Just imagine explaining the electric bill to the missus, right? Well, I'm starting smaller. When the Unity app goes live, I plan to start with maybe 10 phones as a bit of a pilot test, just to see how it all works. And does it work smoothly? How much can those phones actually earn per month, not just based on the online calculator? And is it actually worth the electricity and maybe the effort? All of these are real world questions. The plan is to run those 10 for just a little bit, and if things look good, meaning that I'm earning a decent amount of crypto without any headaches, then I'm probably going to consider scaling it up, maybe to 20 phones, then 50, who knows, right? It's a bit like starting a mini crypto mining farm. However, you can't obviously have them all in one geographical location. The idea is they test the network, right? And so you're going to want to spread them out if you can. But for this telecoms network grid to really truly work anyway. And yes, for those wondering, I will choose to get paid out in XRP among some others like Bitcoin, Ether, and ADA, because why not stack more of the coins that I believe in, right? Well, it's basically just passively accumulating more XRP over time, which is, to me, a fantastic concept. I always kind of say in crypto, you should make your assets work for you when possible. Now, here's an important note. Unity nodes, they aren't the main focus of this video today, and I'm not telling anyone to go and run out and buy one right now. Right? I just think that it's a creative project and I'm personally testing the waters, right? It's definitely not risk-free, of course, or guaranteed money. Very few things actually ever are. So please do your own research. I'm going to put some links in the description down below to Unity's light paper, their rewards calculator, so that you can check out all the numbers and the details for yourself if you are curious. The concept, it might be new to many of you. I have talked about it in a bunch of videos already, but I did want to keep everyone updated on where I am with it. Actually, here's a fun fact. I was so convinced to try this out, I actually ended up getting a second and third Unity node. Why 2 more? Because I had an idea. Right? A lot of people are interested in Unity. I can see the comments of the videos and in the Discord server, but many people, they don't want to purchase a full masternode for themselves, right? You've got 200 devices to try to manage. It's a lot if you've got a 9-to-5 job. And obviously, like I said, it's best to spread them out. And so you're going to have lots of different locations for those phones to be in. It's not for everyone. So with my second and third nodes, what I'm going to do is I'm going to lease out some of my extra licenses to the community members who want to participate, but on a smaller scale. Think of it like splitting the cost and sharing the rewards, right? Now, Unity actually makes this pretty easy. The licensed NFTs can be leased under a digital contract that splits rewards between the license operator and the node owner. I'm the node owner, and maybe you would be the license operator. Now, if you're interested in that, we're going to have more details down in our Discord server. So check the link that's in the description. That's your open invite. Right, we're going to be discussing a lot of this in the free educational Discord server. So hop in Discord if you want to learn more about this or chat about it in more detail. Okay, it's totally free, and of course, it's a great place to ask questions and share ideas with other crypto enthusiasts. So, switching gears from the cool tech stuff back to a bit of practical advice, something that I do that every crypto investor really should consider. That is exchange diversification. Now, this is not as flashy as a $500 million deal or decentralized networks, but you know what? It's super important. Right? The idea is quite simple. Don't rely on just one crypto exchange. Now, I've lived through times when exchanges suddenly halted withdrawals, went down due to overload, hello bull run mania, or even collapsed entirely, FTX. Now, it's just not a good feeling to have all of your trading ability or, funds stuck because you put all of your eggs in one exchange basket. So, I have a personal strategy. I sign up for a whole bunch of reputable exchanges. I complete the KYC if needed, and I test them out with small transactions. I want to be ready with Plan A, Plan B, Plan C, and so on. Right now, I've got accounts on pretty much most of the major platforms, and some of the smaller ones that I trust too, just in case. For example, I use Kraken pretty regularly, and I also have accounts on things like BitGet and Blowfin, among many others. Right, each of these, they come with their own pros and their own cons, and sometimes even its own perks too. Now, I keep them ready so that if one exchange has an outage or, knock on wood, an issue, then I can instantly switch to another one and just keep on trading or cashing out or whatever I need to do. All my favorite exchanges, the ones that I personally trust and use, are listed on my website, which I've linked in the description for you guys. And yes, on the website, those are affiliate links, meaning that if you do use them to sign up and trade, it actually will help support the channel here at no extra cost to yourselves. I do want to be totally transparent about that. It doesn't cost you anything extra, and often these links, they do come with bonuses just for you guys. So it is a bit of a win-win situation. Anyway, for instance, and this is something that I'm really excited about to share, by the way, I've actually partnered up with Kraken to give you or at least all of you guys, an exclusive promo. So here's the deal. If you sign up for Kraken through my link and trade at least $100 worth of any non-stablecoin crypto within 30 days of opening your account, well, Kraken will reward you with $25 worth of XRP. Yeah, that's free XRP, folks. Now, it's basically Kraken and I teaming up to say a big thank you for you guys getting involved. Now, $25 of XRP, it might not sound like life-changing money, but hey, it is free crypto, and if XRP's price goes where we hope in the longer term, then that could grow quite nicely. Plus, it's just a smart move to get another exchange under your belt and have it tested out before the next bull run madness actually hits. Now, you have 30 days to make that $100 trade to qualify, which is plenty of time, I should say, right? Now, this offer, it is actually a limited time only though. So if you are interested, you probably don't want to hang around for too long. Don't know exactly how long Kraken will be keeping it up. So I wouldn't sleep on it if you are genuinely interested. The full terms and conditions for the promo, all that fine print, are available on Kraken's website. I'll link those in the description down below so that you can read up on them. And obviously, by using my link, you are supporting the channel here too, which I greatly appreciate. It's very important to me to always bring you guys great deals that are actually valuable. And I think $25 in free XRP for doing what you might already be doing anyway is kind of making a trade is a pretty sweet deal anyway. So, where does that leave us? Well, honestly, with a lot to be hopeful about, right? I started this video feeling maybe a little bit down, seeing XRP in the red and all the usual doom and gloom on crypto Twitter can really get to you. But by digging into the news of Ripple's big $500 million deal and understanding what's actually happening behind the scenes, it has flipped my perspective a bit. It's kind of like we were watching a thriller movie, right? Thinking that the hero was done for, and suddenly there's actually this plot twist that changes everything. From major Wall Street players betting big on Ripple, to Ripple expanding like crazy into every corner of crypto infrastructure, to new laws, actually favoring crypto innovation. These are not random events or isolated events. They're actually pieces of a puzzle forming a much bigger picture where XRP could play a major role in the future of finance. And as an XRP holder, that's the kind of picture that I've been waiting to see come into focus for a very long time. Now, I'm not saying that the road from here will be very smooth, right? Crypto really never is. There will be more dips, there will be FUD, maybe even some setbacks that we just can't foresee. But remember, this moment for the next time that you feel a little uncertain. While a lot of people were panic selling and declaring XRP dead, some of the biggest investors in the world were quietly investing in it, although directly through Ripple instead. Actions, they speak louder than words, and their actions was a $500 million vote of confidence. For me personally, it kind of reaffirms why I'm in this space and why I continue to hold XRP. It's not because I expect to get rich overnight, but because I see real developments, real adoption, and real value being built. Ripple's valuation hitting $40 billion with this funding round isn't just a number, it's a signal that the company, and by extension XRP's ecosystem, is seen as one of the winners in making it, right? And I want to be there for that particular ride, however long that it might take. To all my fellow XRP holders and those just curious, keep your eyes open and your ears to the ground. Stay informed, stay curious, but don't let the daily noise or price noise drown out the signal of fundamental growth. If you've been watching this so far, chances are that you do care about the long game, just like I do. Now, if you did find this video insightful and maybe you want to join me on this crypto journey, then make sure to smash that like button and the subscribe button. Right, there's always another new and often unexpected, news around the corner in crypto, and you're not going to want to miss it. So, thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll catch you all in the next one.